Hello, everyone. Happy Friday. Dr. Auda Tovar here with another show of the Get Naked Show with Dr. Auda. And today is my second live. Yes, this is what happens when you let your passion take over. And you work almost every day, every time, because you just so enjoy doing this. Hi, Jason. If you're there, definitely say like. Tell me where you are watching from. I would love to know where this audience is coming. And I'm waiting for my guest to join me, who is beautiful, beautiful couple, young, vibrant, and they have something very, very awesome to share with us. And I can't wait to have her on. So hopefully she is watching. And yes. Oh, I keep getting things. All right. And we are hoping not to have any major bloopers. This morning's I had to interview somebody else that was not supposed to be interviewed because it was a photobomb video type. And I ended up interviewing somebody else besides Shannon. I get all these messages. I'm going, okay, Andrea, where are you? I don't see you watching. I need to see you watching in order to be able to be added. We're going to be talking today on the Get Naked Show with Dr. Auda with Dr. Andrea La Moncella. I want to be able to say her name correctly. Lamon Nazarenko. That's it. Yes. Everybody butchers my name, so I try to get people's names correctly. And we're going to be talking about when food hurts. Yes, so many of us, instead of using food as medicine, food is actually punishing us and hurting us. And we're going to talk a little bit about that because in Get Naked Show, we always try to talk about things that we're thinking about, but we're just not saying. That's what Get Naked is all about. It's about stripping the layers so we can let our true light shine. And we can love ourselves for who we are and be able to develop the systems that work for us in order to make a bigger impact in the world. And if you ever have any questions or any suggestions who I might have on my podcast or on this Facebook Lives, please message me. You can contact me at www.dr-auda.com. dr-auda.com, and I will put it here as well. I don't see her watching. So hello everyone. Again, it almost feels like this interviews ends up being me talking to you guys. And yes, hopefully you're not too bored of me already. But let me know where you're watching from and if you can hear me, because I've been having all kinds of issues when it comes to audio and visuals and everything else. Andrea, where are you? I don't see you. I wonder where she's at. She's not here. Where are you? All right, let's see. Hi, Carlos. If you're watching, please like and tell me where you're watching from. We're going to be talking about when food hurts our belly and hurts everything. It's not showing up. I'm on your page. Oh, what page is she on? Auda Tovar. That's it. Not the doctor. I'm live. Am I live? Let me reload. Yes, reload. I feel Facebook is playing me a little bit of a joke with this lives, the audio or the visual, but I want to try to bring them on. Yay, you're on. So I need to see you. You have to be on your phone, and the phone needs to be on landscape in order for me to add you, because I see you. Like, I could bring Carlos on camera, but I cannot bring you. Hi, Holland. How are you? Oh, my fun. I'm here again, and I'm trying to get my guest on. How funny is this? Not very funny, right? But yes, we try to make the best out of everything. And that's one thing I guess mission work has taught me, is that it's a different perspective and you're able to see life through a different pair of glasses. So the things that used to bother you no longer bother you. You always try to make the best out of everything. And your worst day here does not compare to their best day there. So you never complain again about your staff not showing up, the AC not working, little things that tend to annoy us so much in our lives, and we let it get to us and not let us shine our light. We won't complain anymore when you do as many missions as you have, because that gives you a new pair of glasses. Andrea, I don't see you as watching. I see other people as watching. Like I could wave to Holland and I could wave to Carlos. I need to be able to see you as watching so I can add you. You need to be on your phone in this, not in vertical position, landscape. And you need to be watching so I can add you. If only Jim Chester could see me now. No. Mm-mm. Oh, now. I'm going to bring you now. Now I'm going. Oh, yay. We always do this dance party when we get on. Yay. You need to have earphones. Do you have this?
I don't, right on me. Could you hear me like this?
Okay, I could hear you. It's just it was not working without it. Let me take mine off just for good. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, yeah.
Awesome.
I usually do have them on me, but I forgot them this morning.
Oh, wow. There's a little bit of echo. If you're listening to us, let us know if you can hear us well. If the echo is only because I took them off, then let us know if you're there. Be so kind to do that for us. But hello, welcome to the Get Naked Show with Dr. Aura, Dr. Andrea. How do you say?
I am so glad to be here.
How do I say your last name so I don't butcher it?
Oh, it's Nazarenko.
Nazarenko.
It's like Nazareth, but with an enko at the end.
Nazarenko. I said it. Andrea Nazarenko. I could totally say it Latin style. And for those people that don't know you or are not in an inner circle with you, can you tell my audience a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I am married to Dr. Eric Nazarenko. He is a chiropractor, specifically a family chiropractor. He specializes a lot in pediatrics. And so my training is in clinical community psychology. I have a background, I have my PhD in clinical community psychology, and my career actually began with serious and violent offenders. So I was really interested in how two kids could grow up in the same community and one end up in jail and one end up on the honor roll. So that was sort of my interest, and I worked in jails for a real long time. I worked with families of kids who were one step away from going to jail and I had like 3 to 5 months to change their system around to get them on the right path. And this was really impactful in my life and motivating. And so what I ended up realizing through all of this work was that there's no bad individuals. They're not bad people. We have really bad systems. We have bad health systems and bad behavioral health systems and communities that have mediocre services available to them. And so I became really committed to changing systems. So I'm a community psychologist now, which basically means that I work on system level change. So instead of intervening with an individual in a therapy setting, which I did for many years, I intervene with communities to change the community setting, change the environment so that kids could develop in healthy ways. And so how this feeds into what my husband does and what we're doing now is that we have one of the largest family wellness centers in our state, because we're really committed to changing our community to being more, I mean, there's no surprise here that the healthcare system in this country is broken. We offer mediocre services that are many times the standard of care is not even scientifically based. And so we need to change the way that we think about health in this country. We need to change the way we think about physical health, emotional health, behavioral health across the board, and we need to do more to make wellness the norm and not sickness. And so we've really become committed on this mission to move chiropractors to the center of healthcare, to revolutionize healthcare, to be more wellness focused, and to do it using what is called implementation science, which is the science behind how to bring new things into new places. and chiropractic. And we're really pushing forward with this mission to just raise a healthier generation of kids.
Wow. Well, that's amazing. I love it. I mean, that I'm part of your mission, whatever you need. I think that's what we need. And obviously one thing just stuck out when you were speaking, and this is the Get Naked show, and there's no script. Everybody knows that. And we just let it flow. But when you were saying that you were helping kids from the same household, same environment, and they were totally different, what were your conclusions with that? And I'm asking for personal reasons.
Yeah. So when we think about a neighborhood, or we think about a child, you could think about them as existing within a bunch of different circles. So think about like one of those little nesting eggs, if you could think about those, where there's like the child in the center, and then right outside of it's the family, and then right outside that's the peers, and right outside that's the school, and right outside that's the community. Then beyond that's, like states and policies and government, like laws and things like that, where the parent works, social norms, all of that stuff. And so you take a child within a community and you say, a lot of the communities I worked were the types of communities where kids were, shot right across the street from where I was standing. And so all of the kids in the community would be exposed to that sort of risk. They went to the same schools. But some of those kids had parents who were really involved, and some of them had parents who were not really involved. Some of them connected to a teacher or connected to a coach. So often it was, like a football coach, something like that made the difference in their life. They were connected to pro-social activities. They were connected. I did my dissertation on gangs, and one of the things that I thought was really one of the interesting findings that came out of it were that these kids who were involved in youth gangs tended to be more, pro-socially involved in religious organizations as they aged into young adulthood, because they sort of connected and found more so than kids that weren't involved. So there was this like positive aspect of it, which is a whole nother conversation, but it all just depends on that balance between what risks you're involved in and what protective factors, what are the things that are protecting you from those risks, and whatever that constellation may be is sort of the trajectory that kids follow. So even if a school is bad or a community is bad, if there are protective factors that they're connected to, it could really buffer the risk.
And the same goes for individuals. If you're raising children in the same household, the same environment, the same parents, the same belief system, and they're so different to each other. I always found that so interesting. I love human behavior. I love it. Hence, I did the Get Naked and the whole 9 yards. And I just find that so interesting how you can raise in the same household, same beliefs, same parents,
right,
same whatever, and they can be so totally different because there's going to be some internal factors from childhood, from something that happened, some belief system that created, or some I don't know, some pattern of survival that is different than the other, right?
Yeah. And there's in psychology, there's a lot of classical folks who talked about things like birth order. And I never really got birth order. I was always like, whatever, he's first born, second born. I never thought it was that big of a deal until I had my own kids. Yeah. And now I see what a difference birth order makes, because there is more responsibility placed on the first one, or, some sort of like expectation that they will be more forgiven towards the second one, like automatically a teacher.
I know.
I'm laughing today. Yeah. I'm laughing today, actually, as I was coming on your show, because it's a true Get Naked for me today, because usually before I come on, I'm all, look in the mirror. But right before the show, my 3 boys wanted to go play in the mud because it's raining outside. And I was like, you know what? We're getting naked. We're just going to be playing in the mud right before we go live.
I love it. That's what this show is all about. It's just being real and being love for who we are, loving ourselves for who we are, valuing ourselves. And I know you're doing such a great job in your community. And today you are launching a new product that I'm just so proud of you for it. And I know I've told you through other circles. So I want you to tell me a little bit more about that, because when it hurts, I love the title. So
thank you. Yeah, we are launching a book today. Today we're running a pre-launch special And I'll post the link below for 99 cents for a Kindle edition for pre-ordering. And we have a really awesome pre-launch bonus to thank you for celebrating with us. When Food Hurts is a book that came about because, well, actually it came about from my own personal history. About 15 years ago, before I knew about natural healthcare, before I knew really I knew healthy food was good, but I didn't realize the potential of natural healthcare. I suffered from really serious gut health issues, and I was, at the time I was my last year of college, and I was commuting. My first year, my first master's degree, I was commuting down to Columbia University, where we lived in the suburbs of New York, and so it was an hour commute every day, and I was working and I couldn't function. I was just so incredibly sick. When I would eat, my stomach would cramp up and just be in excruciating pain. It was terrible. I think I was 89 pounds when I graduated college because I was just so sick. And I went from doctor to doctor to doctor, and I started collecting prescriptions. I think I ended up with like this stack this high because I wouldn't take any of them because no one could tell me why they were giving me this prescription. They were just giving me prescriptions to alleviate the pain, or they would tell me to go. And I kid you not, I had multiple doctors tell me versions of go eat a Big Mac or some other fast food. And it was like, I'm trying to gain weight. They would tell me I had an eating disorder. And it was like, why would I be sitting here telling you I want to eat and gain weight if I had an eating disorder? And so throughout this journey, it was a chiropractor who said to me, and put me on a specific diet, gave me supplementation, talked to me about gut health, which at the time was nothing compared to what we know now, but it healed me. And I learned through this journey what the power of chiropractic could do, what the power of letting our bodies heal ourselves if we give it the right medicine, and medicine meaning food and food sources, not prescriptions. And so for years, I lived this way, and Eric lived that way, and we preached the message, but we did it quietly. We didn't, people thought we were crazy, and I think we're still early on in our journey of coming to be, that we weren't loud about the message. And then as we opened up this family wellness center and we started seeing more and more families, and we started seeing more and more kids who were like, 20 foods they had eliminated from their diet, and they still had eczema. They still were having a hard time concentrating in class. They still were suffering from symptoms of autism, or so many adults came in with autoimmunity and eczema and couldn't eat and couldn't go to the bathroom. It was like patient after patient after patient, and chiropractic helped a lot, but it needed a friendly cousin to help it along, and that was food. And so we started developing, Eric laughs at me because I'm a scientist at heart. I read a peer review article on gut health every single night. Every night I'm reading an article, and I just dove into it and started validating what I did before I knew any of this in my own journey for my own healing. And we developed this system, started helping so many. It was just this crazy momentum in our community that I wasn't even expecting, I thought maybe my mom would pay attention and listen, but we just started getting this resonance of people seeking us out, I need it. And it was amazing because it opened the door to all these people who would otherwise not even know about chiropractic. Now they're in our office receiving not only, functional medicine and getting nutritional support, but getting chiropractic care, and they have transformed. I mean, we've had MDs ask us hey, what are you doing? Because this blood work doesn't make sense on this patient I've been treating for years. And so we said that we need to get this message out there. We can't just keep this to ourselves. We need to tell more people because we physically can't help everybody. We need to, one, tell more chiropractors about this, and two, tell more people. People need the information to do it themselves and the support to do it themselves. And at minimum, the validation that they're not crazy, that there is hope, that they can feel better. And so that was the motivation behind this book, was just putting out there a scientifically based theory of why they're suffering with so many, it's not that different from the story of two kids who grow up in the same neighborhood and end up with different outcomes. It's like, if you have gut health issues, what it shows up as could look totally different, all the way from autism to hypothyroidism to diabetes to MS, you know, like it's across the board. It looks so different, but it all comes back to the same place. And so we wrote this to really get it in people's hands, because it's my true belief that people could do it, and they could do it with support, but without medications needed.
I think it's just so valuable. I know I'm going to get the book because I have lots of patients that have issues, but you know, it's not my area of expertise. So I give them chiropractic, give them love, and refer them out, or give them some suggestions, obviously. But yeah, gut health is something that I want to learn even more about. Probably is one of the things that when I was a child, I was 10 years old, I started suffering migraines, and I would be constipated. I would go to the bathroom once a week. And this happened all the way up to I was 18, until I got really sick of my liver because of taking Bayer aspirin. Bayer aspirin destroyed my liver, and I ended up in the hospital. And it just, all the internists started giving me all these medications that I had to take. And I was like, I'm not going to take any of that. Thank God I found chiropractic, and I found that above, down, inside out, and I started cleansing. And then I went to a functional medicine doctor, actually up in Georgia, when I was already in chiropractic school. And he helped me cleanse my gallbladder, my kidneys, my everything else that was just so toxic from all the crap, right? So I think this is just so useful. But what would you say to parents that might be hearing us now that don't know what's wrong with the kid? What kind of symptoms are we talking about that then we can start healing with the gut? And on the back of that question, what is it that they can do first? If they don't have your book right now, what can they do first to start noticing some kind of a change in their children's lives?
Those are great questions. So the symptoms, the basic symptoms are, you know, across the board. So there's the obvious, you know, digestive things, right? And those I call obvious ones, even though they're really not obvious to people, but you tend to think, oh, maybe there's something related to food if when you eat food, it hurts. So any like gas, bloating, constipation, diarrhea, anything like that, pain when you eat. The other things, though, are much broader, right? So things like behavioral problems. So that childhood behavioral problems. So that falls in the realm of ADHD, autistic spectrum disorders. We see a lot of irritability type things. The research right now is exploding with mental health and gut. Yep. So much of, you know, we've always talked about depression and anxiety in various ways, and we know that there is, you know, the notion of antidepressants, anti-anxieties is tapping into neurotransmitters in your brain and those chemical imbalances that psychiatrists talk about. But what we know is that those neurotransmitters are the precursors to those chemicals that are in your brain are processed in your gut. That's where they come from. And so if your gut is off balance, your whole system is going to be off balance. We also see it in autoimmunity as a big one. With kids in particular, what we see is eczema. We see a lot of eczema and just food sensitivities in general. So what could parents do? You know, it's a tough one. I think that the first thing that they could do, and what we recommend, is paying attention to diet. So processed foods, you know, we should be eating foods that are actually food. So organic to the best of your ability. If you can't eat all organic, you could look up, you know, the Environmental Working Group is a great resource where they have which foods, each year they come out with which foods are most sprayed with pesticides and which ones are safer. So, you know, do some harm reduction. If you can't do everything organic, do at least the ones that are most sprayed. So like strawberries, for example, are sprayed very heavily. You know, eliminate excess sugars. And then, you know, I lost my train of thought. Gluten. Gluten is a big trigger for people. Gluten is a substance that wreaks havoc on everybody's system, whether, you know, people say, oh, I'm not celiac, so I could eat gluten. Gluten wreaks havoc on many people. And so gluten could be a trigger to what you're eating. So I would recommend gluten-free and see how that does. You know, one of the things that that's an important message that Eric and I spread is this notion that so many people people begin to eliminate things from their diet because they say, they hear advice like I just provided, right? Eliminate processed foods, eliminate gluten, and then they say, oh, but dairy bothers me too, and soy bothers me too, and eggs bother me too, and they start eliminating everything. But what's happening is that they're eliminating everything, but they're still not fixing the problem. And the problem is that within your digestive tract is designed to keep things in that are supposed to be in and prevent things from going out, just like our skin does. But when there's a hole in it, when there's a gap that is bigger than it should, which is what we refer to as a leaky gut, food particles and other things pass through that aren't supposed to. So it doesn't matter if you have that leaky gut, no matter what you're eating is what you're going to be developing sensitivities to, because it's what your body's responding to. So instead of keep continuing on the cycle of elimination, we could instead be focusing on healing the gut. So that brings us back to your question of what could you do to heal your gut? And there's no one answer, right? There is no one answer, but I'm just going to put out there some things that I think are best. We love bovine colostrum, because colostrum, just like human colostrum with breastfeeding, is the thing. All babies are born with a leaky gut. It helps develop their immunity, their passive immunity when they're born. Bovine colostrum is nature's superfood. It is nature's natural way to close that gut lining. It's what nature provided for babies from their mother to close their leaky gut. And so it is a great option. Another option is L-glutamine is a really powerful source to heal the gut. And then there's so many supplements. I mean, it's too much to go through today, but I think off the bat, if I had to, off the top of my head in a Get Naked talk, I would say focus on diet, removing those processed foods, those sugars, things that are not actually food, but just look like it, get them out of your diet. Increase fruit and vegetable intake, increase organic foods, remove GMOs, and then if you need supplementation, to go into the ballpark of researching bovine colostrum and L-glutamine, because those are really powerful sources to heal the gut. And then, of course, things like bone broth and fermented foods, probiotics, those are always, always, always helpful.
Yeah, it's just obviously when even when I started hearing about these things, because I'm very Latin, so my food choices probably have been very flawed throughout the years. It is how we express love in our family and our culture is through food. That, trust me, God is not making it. We are making it, and it's being it's a mess. It's not like if we're growing it and then serving it on a plate. No, it is the total opposite. Hi, Jamie, if you're there, we love you too. And yes, I can wait to see the book either. If you're there, like, comment, ask questions. And if you have kids with problems, and this is the time to ask a question because we're leaving soon. So yeah, I love that you're giving us tips, because it might get overwhelming for a parent, and then they're like, oh, forget it. Where do I go get colostrum? Where do I get L-glutamine? Where do I find it?
What is this?
Yes.
Exactly. And this is what we do. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I should have said this off the bat, because I get lost in the details because I love it and I could just like dive in the details all day. But our food freedom system is based on something so simple. It's 4 points. 1, identify the problem. And that is acknowledging that you don't have to keep chasing symptoms. It's not the notion of my blood pressure's high, so take a medication to lower my blood pressure, which makes me more hyperactive. Focus on the real problem. Focus on that root cause. Whether it's central nervous system, chiropractic, or it's nutritional and gut health, focus on that root cause.
Yes.
Then add the good. Add the good things into your life. Those are the fruits, the vegetables. If you need supplementation, like that list of things that I gave, that was probably overwhelming and detail oriented, like add those things in, but take time. Like, don't feel overwhelmed. Don't get overwhelmed. Just add good things in. When you go to eat food, say to yourself, is this good? Like, that's simple, right? Is this good? Is this actually food?
I love it. And I had Jimmy ask you a question that probably you have a better answer to than me. So he said, I heard that fermented foods, kombucha, etc., actually feed SIBO and should stay away. What are your thoughts?
It feeds, wait, I couldn't see feed SIBO and I should stay away. I did not hear that. I'm a fan of fermented foods, but there's two caveats I say to fermented food. One's a little pet peeve, which is just a semantic thing, and one is a really important point. So fermented foods you buy in the store are not the same as the fermented foods you make at home because they're going through a pasteurization process. In order to commercialize them, they kill a lot of the good beneficial things that should be in them. So our traditional fermented foods, like the sauerkrauts you make or your grandmother made or whoever made them, those are the kombuchas that you make. Those are the rich things. The one you buy in the store might have some benefits, but you know, depending on brand and what it is, I'm not saying don't eat them, but you're not getting the richness that you're getting if you're fermenting your foods yourself or buying them from someone who did. The second is this notion that a fermented food is the same as a probiotic is a pet peeve of mine because it's not. By the definition of a probiotic is a live microorganism that, when taken in sufficient amounts, has a health benefit. And so when you take something like a fermented food, like sauerkraut or kombucha or yogurt, one, they're not always alive because we've killed them during pasteurization. Two, we don't know the sufficient dosage. You're not getting enough of that bacteria to really make a difference. And three, the health benefit, you have to really know what strain it is and the details of the actual bacteria to know if it's actually having an effect and an effect for what. It's not just like these things are completely interchangeable. And so there's a misnomer that like, well, I'm just eating fermented foods, I'm getting my probiotic. And no, you should still be taking a probiotic. And so to tackle Jimmy's question, my initial response, although I haven't heard exactly that, is that if you're buying a fermented food that's loaded with sugar, like you go to the store and there's a kombucha that's loaded with sugar, and you've killed all of the live bacteria that should exist within that kombucha, yeah, you're probably feeding your SIBO. But if you are brewing it at home or, you know, really eating fermented foods that have been fermented properly, then I would, you know, they have a lot of health benefits, not just for gut health.
Well, he says that now that makes sense. Thank you. So he got that question answered, and I'm sure we're going to get all these questions answered when we get the book, which I can't wait to read it and bring you home with me so you can make me the fermented food and the other things and teach us all how to live normally. So yeah, I know there's a lot for me to learn, and I've also asked my question when I'm buying that kombucha, and I'm like, Let me ask myself, I'm trying to do something good for my body right here, but I'm buying something that has been in a fridge that came from who knows when, that has been packaged since who knows how. How is this good for me for $7? So
right, exactly.
I'm like, I don't think this makes sense. I mean, the rule of thumb, and that what I tell at least my patients, because I don't have that's not my passion, so that's not as much knowledge, but I want to help as many people as I can. Hence I do this interviews, and I give a voice to everybody else, because together we rise and we can make a bigger impact in the world. And the biggest thing that I tell my patients is, if God didn't make it, don't eat it, and just try to just eat it at home. Try to wash your fruits and vegetables as much as you can, so you can clean the pesticides and you can eat as clean as possible. Go back to the age where we made our stuff,
right.
Because everything that you buy in the supermarket that it is packaged is gonna have crap that is going to affect.
Right. Add the good and remove the bad. That's sort of our mantra. It's like, if you could just focus on whether you're talking about food or cleaning products or cosmetics or what have you, add the good, remove the bad, and get support, right? Like, you can't do this alone. There's too much stuff to even talk about. You know, I'm still learning everything, and I've been doing this for years. So get support from other people, because collectively we know a lot more than any one person knows. So and you can't do it alone, because the social norms aren't there yet. So we want to support each other so it feels like a norm.
So let me ask you one last question before we go. In the book, would people find a way to deal with this on their own, or would they have to buy certain products or go find the support in their community that is going to guide them through? What can people expect?
Yeah, so we designed the book so that you can do it on your own.
Okay.
But of course, the caveat comes with, if there's a lot of there's a continuum of your problems with food. So if you are at a state where you have severe autoimmunity or you're showing signs of disease already, you might need some more support. And Dr. Eric and I, through our food freedom system, have two things that we do. We have conversations with people virtually to help them get them on the right track. We also will be kicking off, this is the first time I really announced it, but we'll be kicking off a training program for other chiropractors to give them everything, someone like you, where it says, here's everything you need to know about gut health. Here's our protocols. Here's everything. You could be the facilitator for it. And then we also have communities that are free that people could, support each other with in their journeys. But if you are a parent of a child who's just beginning to show signs of gut health issues, you want to be preventative, you want to deal with issues going on, but not that bad yet. This book is laid out so you could do it on your own. Our goal, our mission is to empower parents. We don't want to listen, our country is on medicine. People can be healthy themselves, and we don't want to be part of that problem. Nothing would be better than to not have patients continuing to come to us because they were so healthy and empowered on their own.
That is so true. Thank you so much for coming on. Thank you for what you're doing, for the research that you're doing for all of us that are not doing the research. And thank you for giving us all this information. I think this is it's so trending right now, by the way. There's finally people, when you speak gut health, everybody's like, yeah, and listening, because we are finally understanding that it comes from our guts. And yes, having a clear nervous system to make all these other things sense, and having your body work from above down, inside out, and express your true health potential is the best thing. And then we can add all those other great things you were mentioning about. But if you do have any gut issues, please click the link below. I know Andrea is going to put it right below, and she's going to let people be able to order that on the pre-launch special of 99 cents, you said? Hello? She's coming in and out.
99 cents for today, so you can't beat that.
Awesome. Well, you can beat it. So
today it's 99 cents. Yep.
I can't wait to eventually do another one with you and your husband. And I thank you for letting me get to know you a little bit better through this Get Naked Talk with Dr. Aura. If you want to reach me, you can do that at dr-aura.com. You can always message me through Facebook. If you want to reach Andrea, she's going to put the links right below, or she's going to send it to me. I will edit this interview also in the top, so it can be for people to reach, and you can share with your loved ones, and they can also be blessed. So thank you so much, Andrea. Have yourself a blessed Friday, and congratulations on your book. Much success to you. To everybody that's been watching and that has been commenting, we love and appreciate you. Thank you for being part of my journey. See you next week. Ciao.
Thank you.
Bye.